Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow.
My son is the great-grandson of 2 Holocaust survivors.
Oh.
And he has done a bit of research, and his father and I'm still very close to my in-laws. They helped me raise him, and his father too, even though we were divorced. But knowing the Holocaust background, when I got pregnant, I went to my mother-in-law, who was a daughter of 2 Holocaust survivors, and I said, how do I handle this? How can I best represent the history of our families, the trauma, and how can I not protect him, but, I see it a little bit differently because I sit on a different perch. I see the hate, the anti-Semitism, which is on fire right now, both sides. So how do I handle this the best way for everybody and for him? How do I become his advocate, right? Not knowing anything other than what I read in history books and the stories that obviously one had just died when I met the dad, my ex-husband, and she was still alive until about 3 or 4 years ago. So her stories lived on, and she would tell them once in a while. She had the tattoo. And by the way, let's honor her. Her name was Sala Langer. Her maiden name was Weitzman. So the Weitzman family were killed. They came from Poland, went to, I believe, the ghetto. She was interned in Auschwitz after a move, but her whole family was killed. The husband, Stephen Schrulich, which is Hebrew, Langer, escaped on the train to, they believe, Dachau. So he jumped out of the train, broke his shoulder, I think, and was part of a movement called the Jewish Federation, which is still in today. So this is big stuff, right? My family doesn't have anything like that, really, at all. So I was sensitive to that. And as we've sort of dug into the honor of this and representing and being advocates for, or it's not even like standing up and punching people in the face. It's just like, actually, no, let's redirect you. Maybe you could learn about it this way. Learning that the trauma is in the DNA. How can you not have produced children that would have generational trauma? So is it generational trauma that is in the DNA, or is it because this person had such traumatic things happen to her or him? I mean, he went through it too. And, is it passed down through the mother, my ex-husband, and now my son? Like, is it genetic? Is it situational? Is it the nature versus the nurture? So,
have you ever heard of Brian Diaz? He's a doctor he used to be at Emory University. Now the lab is at UCLA, I believe.
Oh, really? No.
So it's in this exact area on how generational trauma is passed in through the DNA. Yeah. And one of the experiments that they do is in rats. So they'll take rats and then they'll shock them, the male rats. They'll shock them, so they have an adverse reaction. And then they'll have them smell a scent. It's like, I think it's a cherry blossom scent or something. So that eventually what you can do is you can just have them smell the scent and then they'll have the same reaction, right? Then what they'll do is they'll mate these rats and then they'll separate them. And then when the mothers give birth to the baby rats, eventually they'll separate them, I think. So the baby rats have never met the father. And then when they become mature, they'll test them with the smell. And then guess what happens?
Same response.
They're more adverse to it than the parent was.
Yep.
So they would never have met the parent. They don't know why, but they'll have that reaction. Mm-hmm. That type of research is being done right now. If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.